Hello and welcome to Beto Carreiro for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's round 7 of the FIM MX1, MX2 Motocross World Championship. Well, the weather conditions here, not ideal, but better than they were 1 year ago. And there is a spectacular view of this circuit here in Brazil. Weather a little bit muggy, a bit humid, a little bit of drizzle yesterday, but more of that later. Well, we're in the grounds of the largest theme park in Latin America, Beto Carreiro World, that hosted its inaugural race 1 year ago today for round 7 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. This spectacular circuit is littered with huge jumps on the typical red clay dirt of Brazil, while the impressive infrastructure and high-capacity bleachers provide a stadium-like atmosphere for the riders today. After perfect conditions in qualification, last year's event turned out to be a bit of a bloodbath as heavy rain spoiled what should have been a very spectacular race at this spectacular venue. But this year's event looks to follow a similar pattern. We had perfect conditions in MX2 qualifying yesterday, followed by the map drizzle for MX1. And that showed no signs of easing up during the night. But in MX2, Jeffrey Herlings remains unbeaten and made hard work for himself in Saturday's qualifying session, as did his MX1 teammate, Tony Cairoli. But Glenn Coldenhoff it was who was victorious in the qualifying race yesterday, and we have an atmosphere all around this circuit, absolutely fantastic. And for now, the weather has held off, and we're getting ready to go racing here in just a few moments' time. Of course, it's one MX1 and one MX2 race, the format. Of course, then the all-important super final, because we are at the flyaway race. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. But there's a quick look at the circuit, just over 1,560 meters long. It's a short-ish start straight into a hairpin, very wide left-hander, but it's pretty heavy down there in terms of it's just been disked freshly this morning. And there you see the Get Athena whole shot line coming out of that left-hander. But already the Mexican wave starting around this circuit. That's just on the bottom straight before they head uphill over the second of the Monster Energy tabletop jumps. It's a big influence from Honda this weekend as well, this Brazilian Grand Prix. And we're getting ready to go down to the start line. Amy Dargan's down there. She's going to grab one or two riders, I guess. Let's see what they have to say. Here's Amy.
What an absolutely amazing weekend we've had so far. The crowd, the atmosphere, everything is spot on. But of course, the real action starts today. It's race day. I'm going to have a word with Jeffrey Herlings. Jeffrey, bit of a nightmare yesterday in qualifying.
Yeah, definitely, went down in the first lap, got taken out by Dakotas, and then came from that last back to 10th, and then, NC took me out again. So, it was a tough one, but came back to third, almost got the win. So hopefully today is going to be a better start, and we'll see how it's going.
And in comparison to last year, obviously, you always had people like Tommy, Jeremy on your tail to keep that pressure for you to keep pushing. How do you do it this year?
I don't know. It's the competition got a bit less, but doesn't mean anything. I've been still super fast, and I think I still gained some speed from last year. So I just hope to keep on charging and keep on winning.
And this is your final opportunity to break into that top 3 of the super final. How are you feeling?
I don't know. It's been raining a lot lately, so it all depends on the start. If I can get a top 3 start, I'll definitely be in the box, I guess. But if I'm not top 5, then obviously the podium won't be here this weekend, I think.
Well, best of luck this weekend. Right, before we see the MX2 race, we're going to take a look behind the scenes of what we all got up to on Friday night. So here in Brazil, we've taken advantage of the organisers' hospitality. We're up for a bit of dancing, a bit of singing, and we're going to catch up with a few riders too, so let the party start. Bobby, great to see you back, but how's the foot feeling? Are you going to be able to dance tonight?
I try. It's I'm not healthy enough, but you know, for dancing I'm always healthy, you know, but no, I'm joking really, it's still painful, so you know, but it's much better than a few days ago, and every time it's improving the pain.
Gote, nice to see you here in Brazil, obviously coming off a bit of a high after the last 2 GPs. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good at the moment. It's true that last 2 GP was really good with 2 wins in a row. Was nice, but I mean, I'm here as a racer. I know everything can happen. I'm just here to do my best, and the championship start again. I mean, the crew, all the team is behind me, and the track I really like here, but still anything can happen, and I need to be focused and start again all the job.
Tony, I know you're a guy that enjoys a party. You having a good time tonight?
Yeah, for sure. It's always nice to be at this event. Meets a lot of people and the press from the local place, so it's good. I like it.
And fingers crossed for no rain on Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully, for sure. Last year wasn't my best race, so hopefully not too much rain like last year, and hopefully gonna be on the after 2 GP that I missed the top spot, being on the podium on the first step.
Davide, it's the final flyaway round of the year. How does it feel to be in Brazil?
Yeah, right now it feels great. You know, there is nice people here, and the park here all around is great. And also tonight they organized really nice kind of party here with the music, and you know, it's nice. Since the weather now is coming not so bad, then it's really good.
Have you got a drink? You're almost out. Let's go get a Caprinian.
Of course, we go now.
Thanks, Paul.
I'm waiting 20 minutes for that. Glenn Coldenhoff was fastest in the qualifying. Well, he won the qualifying race yesterday, but Jeffrey Herlings was fastest in free practice and the pre-qualifying practice, but the qualifying race itself belonged to Glenn Coldenhoff. He got a start-to-finish win. Jeffrey Herlings didn't actually make a very good start, was around about 10th or 12th when he went through the first couple of corners, but then he had a bit of a tussle with Decotis. Decotis spun up just after the first wave section, coming out of a left-right combination, jumped into the back of Jeffrey Herlings' KTM. He went offline and straight into the path of Petr Petrov on the Vandelar Kimia Raytec Yamaha, and both guys went down on the first lap. Unfortunately for Petr Petrov, he wasn't able to make his way back into the race. His bike was too badly damaged with it being on the first race, got killed by every single bike out there. But Jeffrey Herlings put on a charge. He came round on the first lap in 15th, worked his way up to 13th behind Max Anstey, and you heard him in the pre-grid interview say that Anstey took him out at the top of the hill and one of the right-handers, and of course he had to do it all over again as well. So there you see the riders, how they line up in the qualifying. We'll go over that in just a moment, but yeah, Glenn Coldenhoff was the winner, Charlier was second, Herlings a great fight back through the field in the 25-minute moto to get back into third ahead of Jake Nichols and Jose Boutron. MX2 race 1 for the 7th round of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. We're at Beto Carreiro World in Brazil. The crowd are on their feet. The gate is about to drop here. Glenn Coldenhoff will start from pole position from Christophe Charlier, Jeffrey Herlings, Jake Nichols and Jose Boutron. Dave Nicol, our FIM race director, signals the 15-second board to turn to 5. The gate is about to drop, and at the inside is Jeffrey Herlings on the Red Bull KTM. He didn't make a good start yesterday, and he hasn't made it again today. And there are no riders going down on the inside, but as they go through, it's Alexander Tonkov who leads the way through the first corner and down past pit lane, the number 59, but Ferrandis in there in third place. Over the first Monster Energy tabletop jump they go. And through the wave section, this was where we caught out Jeffrey Herlings yesterday, coming out of this right-hander. Decotis slammed right into the back of him, and he went offside the track there over that tabletop, taking Petr Petrov with him, did Jeffrey Herlings in the qualifying race. Jake Nichols there in third place. So we've got Tonkoff leading the way on the Ester Motorsport Honda with 259 Glenn Coldenoff second, 45 Jake Nichols in third. Fourth is one of the Monster Energy Yamahas. Waiting for him to come over the line now to see exactly who that Monster Energy Yamaha is. And it's Mel Pocock, 119 from Dylan Ferrandis, Jordi Tixier and Dean Ferris in 7th, Charlier 8th, Boutron 9, Petrov in 10th place. Then we've got Lupino, Herlings down in 12th. And there you see Herlings just about to go through. There he is down on the right-hand side. We had a lot of rain yesterday afternoon in the MX1 qualifying race and continued through the night till about 10 or 11 o'clock. So far today we've had a slight drizzle, but it's very humid here, so the track pretty sticky out on track. Or the conditions pretty sticky out on track, I should say, as working their way back downhill. Alexander Tonkoff leading the way here in MX2 race 1. Coldenoff all over the back of him, and it was Coldenoff who led from start to finish yesterday in the qualifying race. Tonkoff did a great job of holding it up there for 8 of the 11 laps in qualifying. But as Jake Nichols said, once he hit a wall, he started falling back into the clutches of everybody else. Tonkoff finishing eventually down in 6th place in the qualifying, but coming round to complete their first lap here at Beto Carrero. A new sand section added in here from what we had last year. And remember, heavy conditions last year, deep rain, heavy rain and deep mud were the conditions out on track a year ago. But are we on board here with Jeffrey Herlings? I think maybe we are, either him or Tixier, but it's, yeah, Herlings over the line. So over the line we go for the first time. Our rider on screen, number 59, Alexander Tonkoff, Glenn Coldenoff behind him in 2nd position. Jake Nichols at 45 in 3rd, Mel Pocock 4th, Dylan Ferrandis in 5th. As we go back on board, it's Herlings actually we're on board with here. But Herlings just getting squeezed there by Mel Pocock, just like he did yesterday. In fact, it was Pocock who got the whole shot in the qualifying race yesterday, but eventually came round in 6th by the end of the first lap, did the Brit. Another angle of the start, but Tonkoff, Coldenoff, Nichols, Pocock, Ferrandis, they top 5 at the moment. Tixier, Ferris, Boutron, Herlings in 9th, and Paolo Alberto, the local guy here in 10th position, much to the delight of the crowd here, has to be said. Oh, big leak there from Ferris, that looked like. So up the hill, there's Jeffrey Herlings, our championship leader, through the right-hander now. That's where he tagged with Max Anstey yesterday in the qualifying race, I might add. But Pocock here, Mel Pocock, the 250cc European champion from last year. Oh, thought he was jumping a bit short there, Petrov. Petrov in the middle of the shot there. He's got, oh, that's White. Lupino getting caught there. So Lupino going down. Or maybe that was Dakotas, I don't know. Couldn't quite see the number on the back of the shirt there. Possibly Lupino, actually. There's Boutron. Got Jeffrey Herlings just behind him, takes a look over his shoulder wisely, but Herlings on the charge, and Herlings picking off riders, so finding a way past Jose Boutron, moves up into 8th place, going after Dean Ferris next. Differing lines there coming through the sand section. Final corner here. And Jeffrey Herlings got his teammate, Jordi Tixier, just ahead of him. So already found a way past Dean Ferris. So with 2 laps complete, Tonkoff leads, Coldenoff 2nd, fastest man on track. 3rd is Nichols, 4th is Pocock, 5th is Ferrandis, 6th is Tixier there, 9-11. 7th, our championship leader, number 84, is Jeffrey Herlings. And Herlings coming into shot just here, number 84. Those waves a little bit sketchy today. Lots of ruts starting to appear in that part of the circuit. Dylan Ferrandis, 122 on the Bud Racing Rockstar Kawasaki. He's having a great ride at the moment. In 5th position. Uphill he goes into the top right-hander, the highest point on this Beto Carrero World Circuit, which incidentally, a press release last night after the qualifying races was announced that the FIM Motocross of Nations would be looking to come here in 2017. But Tonkov, our race leader, is only 1.5 seconds clear of Glenn Coldenhoff. Difficult conditions out there, some deep ruts in some of the corners, but it's generally quite dry in the majority of the places on this circuit. Almost perfect, actually, you'd have to say, but there's Coldenhoff in second. Jake Nichols still breathing down his neck on the Wilbur Star and JM Racing KTM in third place. Number 45 coming under the Romagnoli banner now in the background there. But pretty much equidistant, the gaps between first, second and third, although Coldenhoff just looking like he's closed in on Tonkov, who was a little bit too tight into that inside right-hander. The final corner hit some pretty big braking bumps there, almost knocked him off balance a little bit. Comes over the final jump now. Gap not 3.5 seconds, it comes down to 1.1 seconds, so Tonkov coming under pressure now from Glenn Coldenhoff, but as we saw in the qualifying race yesterday, Tonkov not an easy rider to pass around this Beto Carrero circuit. Tonkov doing a good job at the moment. Jake Nichols, the fastest man on track that time around, in third place at 2:06.1, so 8 tenths quicker than the guys ahead of him. And these are your leaders right on screen now. The blue, the number 59 of Alexander Tonkov on the Ester Motorsports Honda. Also in the JTEC camp. The rest of the team not here this weekend with Stefan Olsson, but looking impatient now is the number 259. Glenn Coldenhoff. Coldenhoff third in the championship, 36 down on Tixier, so he's putting some points back on the Rebel KTM rider, but Pocock still in fourth place on the Monster Energy Yamaha. Ferrandis still in fifth, Tixier sixth, still holding off his teammate. But we'll see here, yep, still holding him off, because there is Herlings, number 84, going out of that right-hander, dropping downhill. But Tonkov doing a good ride at the moment, has to be said. I'm guessing that the ruts on the face of the jump, especially coming downhill through there, might just start to dig out a little bit, but you can see the line choice. He's doing everything right, taking the shortest route through, normally the quickest line through, but the likes of Glenn Coldenhoff and Jake Nichols, who are closing in now. Mel Pocock just in the background in fourth place. So all the young guns here upstaging. Jeffrey Herlings, the current World Championship leader, who remains unbeaten in 2013, remember. And that's one of his goals, to win every single moto and every round of the World Championship. But down in 7th place at the moment, Jeffrey Herlings, who we found yesterday coming from 24th position as he picked himself up on lap 1 in a 25-minute race. He still managed to get into 3rd place and close right down on Glenn Coldenhoff, who was our winner, and Christophe Charlier in 2nd place. Charlier, incidentally, is down in 18th place at the moment. So through the first series of waves, down past pit lane we go. It's Tonkov, Coldenhoff, Jake Nichols in 3rd, Mel Pocock in 4th, Dylan Ferrandis in 5th, Tixier is 6th, Jeffrey Herlings in 7th position. 8th, here's Boutron. 9th is Dean Ferris. 10th, Maxime Dupre. Alessandro Lupino is 11th. Paolo Alberto is 12th. Looked like a mistake there from number 300. Alessandro Lupino, who had a rock smash his nose yesterday, come right through the helmet in the qualifying race. But nothing in it between 1st and 2nd. A mistake there from Tonkov, but he holds the inside line. And up the inside, and a nice pass there from Tonkov. Sorry, not Tonkov, Coldenhoff leading the race now on the standing construct KTM. So Glenn Coldenhoff then leaps high to the top of the hill, immediately defends the inside line, and started the season with a 2nd place finish in the opening race in Qatar at the opening round. This was the mistake from Lupino, just behind Maxime Dupre. Yeah, the body language as we went back to him a moment ago saw that he just made a mistake. What we didn't see was the crash going through that first turn, and this is a pass. Tonkov up the inside, thought he'd got it covered, but Coldenhoff launched it down the inside and went straight for the apex. Slammed it down the inside of the Russian, and he now leads the race, pulls a tear off as well as he goes through. And Coldenhoff here leading the way, already starting to open up a gap over the 59 Alexander Tonkov, who came out here on Tuesday, was riding with a couple of the Honda Brazil riders actually. Jake Nichols closing in on 3rd now. So Jake Nichols looking to capitalize on Tonkov as he makes a couple of mistakes. We've got yellows in the background, can't quite see who that is.
classificatório. 2,59 na ponta, sai da Rússia e vai para a Holanda. Ele ultrapassou e abriu.
Coming out of turn 1, Tonkov in second place. Jake Nichols there in white. He's in third, number 45 on the Wilbone, the Star and Chen Racing KTM, being urged on by the mechanics down there in pit lane. Nichols just trying to find a way through. A case of deja vu for the Brit, as he spent, 8 laps trying to find a way past Tonkov yesterday in the qualifying race. Conditions a lot drier but slick in places as the rain started to come down in the second half of the race. But a lot grippier circuit now, but the rut's deeper. The bumps are starting to come too as well. Through that long, tricky off-camber turn, turn 8, the left-hander. Jake Nichols would have seen Tonkov get past there a lap ago. Wasn't quite close enough, Jake Nichols, this time around, but you know he's got it up his sleeve. Mel Pocock just there lurking dangerously in 4th position on the Monster Energy Yamaha, coming into view now over the top of the hill. Dylan Ferrandis still there in 5th place on the Bud Rockstar Racing Kawasaki, just behind Mel Pocock, and up the inside, easily done for Nichols now, slides into 2nd position through the very difficult off-cambered left-hander. Keeping it up on 2 wheels. Nichols now going after the standing construct KTM, our race leader, Koldenhoff. Koldenhoff just coming out of the turn there, look. So maybe a second and a half or so, that gap between 1st and 2nd. Nichols will be looking to do what he can to close down on the Dutchman. Herlings has found a way through on Tixier that time around and set the fastest lap, and this is where he did it as well. Tixier went to the inside, Herlings went round the outside and managed to find a way through into 6th position. So Herlings now, he's going to be on the charge, having found a way past a rider that's going to be on similar machinery to him. That was Ferris going through behind Boutron, so they're 8th and 9th in the race. Here is Boutron, number 17 on the Silver Action KTM. Dean Ferris, Monster Energy Yamaha, then Maxime Dupre just behind him in 10th position, then Lupino in 12th. Alberto is 13th. Max Anstey on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki is in 13th place. Petrov in 14th. Jimmy DeCotis in 15th. Ivo Monticelli is there, and there's Herlings up the inside. So Herlings up the inside of Pocock and already moving up into 4th position. So Herlings on the charge now. Got Tonkov just ahead of him. So through the left, through the right, this is where it all went wrong for him in the opening lap of qualifying yesterday, off the side of the track there with Petr Petrov. But Jeffrey Herlings setting a blistering pace on the previous lap, and already all over the back of Tonkov, down the inside, easy as you like. But Tonkov gets a slingshot around the outside, stays ahead of the Red Bull KTM rider. But still with 21 minutes to go, plus 2 laps, Jeffrey Herlings now perfectly placed in terms of potentially picking up another 25 points to keep his immaculate record intact, but got to find a way past the very wide Honda of Alexander Tonkov just here in blue, number 59, the Russian on the Ester Motorsport Honda. Very tricky through there, up into this tight right-hander, having to drift out to the bank, down over the tabletop, stepping down into this right-hander, hard on the brakes, just, well, I was going to say one line through there, but Herlings, just like yesterday, using all of the racetrack and a little bit more. And Jake Nichols all over the back of Glenn Koldenhoff now. The battle for 1st place has suddenly gained a little bit of intensity here. The gap between Nichols and Herlings last time around was about 5 seconds. Of course, Herlings finding a way past Mel Pocock in the process since then. And he's all over the back of Alexander Tonkov there in the background, coming under the Honda bridge. Through the sand into the final corner. And easily round the outside for Herlings. Or is it? Ooh, very tight through there. Making him work extremely hard for it. Here's Alexander Tonkov. The fans love the performance from Herlings yesterday in the qualifying race. Ooh, through 1st corner, over the waves. Going to cut back to the inside here, Herlings, but Tonkov already has that line covered. Nicely on the gas, keeps it nice and low over the tabletop, but Tonkov going to close the door through the wave section here. Pretty much goes down to one line through that shallow right-left combination. Herlings just making a mistake coming out of the left-hander. Crowd on their feet, loving the performance here from Jeffrey Herlings as he fights his way through the field from a poor start. He's now in 4th place behind the number 59 there in blue, Alexander Tonkov. He tried to find a way through here last time around. Will he make it stick this time? He goes straight on in the corner, and again Tonkov gets the drive down on that Honda. And Tonkov, as we said, riding a very wide Honda at the moment, making Herlings work extremely hard for it. And all the while, Koldenhoff and Nichols, who are now only 3/4 of a second apart in 1st and 2nd, just pulling away just a little bit. That gap between him and Herlings is 6.5 seconds, but Herlings goes through. So Herlings through, up into the top right-hander, through turn 14, the off-cambered left-hander downhill. And this is a battle for the lead. Jake Nichols now all over the back in that bottom corner, just after the Yamaha banner. Oh, our cameraman just gone on absence there, but I just saw Koldenhoff flick through the bottom of the screen there. Still leading the race here. Nichols still 2nd. Jeffrey Herlings now in 3rd place, just here, bottom of the screen. The red, white, and blue, the number 59 Honda of Alexander Tonkov dropping down to 4th. 119 Monster Energy Yamaha, Mel Pocock in 5th place with Jordi Tixier 911, Red Bull KTM in 6th. Dylan Ferrandis dropping down to 7th position now. 8th is Boutron, 9th is Dean Ferris, 10th Alessandro Lupino on the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit, Kawasaki. So Jeffrey Herlings then come out of the final corner, hits the Monster Energy finishing line, jump, and goes through in 3rd, 6.1 seconds down on Koldenhoff and Nichols. And Koldenhoff 1.3 clear of Jake Nichols now. So obviously 1 or 2 problems for Nichols in a couple of corners in about 1/3 of a lap. For Koldenhoff just to pull that gap out again, because it was about 3/4 of a second, so about 6/10 lost. So not a lot in the greater scheme of things, but psychologically on a timing screen, 0.7 of a second or 1.3 seconds might be a massive disadvantage. And there you see Koldenhoff just coming through here, 2.59 on the standing construct KTM. Started off the year with a 2nd in the opening moto in Qatar. And he's had a couple of 5th place finishes, more than his fair share, maybe 3 or 4, and he's had a 4th in the 2nd moto last time out in Portugal, round 6 at Agata. Very similar dirt to what we've got here, although a little bit more sandy at Agata 2 weekends ago. Not as clay-like either, so a bit more sticky. Right, that's the gap between 2nd and 3rd. Herlings coming down the hill, already losing sight of Jake Nichols as he makes his way to the bottom of the hill. Trying to pick up Herlings, there he is. There's Koldenhoff, our race leader, having to stretch it out on the step down. We've got a back marker just in the way of Jake Nichols in 2nd position. Easily through there, though, for the young Brit. That's the gap between 1st and 2nd. Tim Mathis, the team owner of Standing Construct there on the left, chewing gum very nervously, Alex Ferguson style, it would appear. Back marker just going through here in 3rd place, and there's Herlings just in the background on the Red Bull KTM. So he goes through the final wave section, heading up to the big step up. A couple of corners from the finish line. There's Tonkov in 4th, Pocock in 5th, Tixier in 6th. And Ferrandis, I think, just off the back of them in 7th, yeah, in the red and yellow. Number 122, the young French kid. Tonkov holding up the show here. Pocock can't afford to make the wrong choice of line when thinking about finding a way through on the Russian Tonkov. Tonkov takes a look over his shoulder. He knows exactly who's there. Pit boards would have been out telling him. But Pocock trying to go to the inside. Alexander Tonkov trying to pick his way past the back marker. Easily done through there for Tonkov and Mel Pocock. Pocock not desperate to find a way through, but he can't relax here because Ferrandis has found a way past Tixier. So Ferrandis now into 5th place. Pocock looking to go down the inside, but we saw with Herlings, very difficult to make the pass stick there on Tonkov, especially as he has the outside line and gets the slingshot action to get himself over the step up. Slight mistake there from Tonkov. Meanwhile, the gap between Koldenhoff, our race leader, and Jeffrey Herlings, 7 seconds. It's only about 5 seconds back to Jeffrey Herlings from Jake Nichols. Up the inside in the top right-hander, trying to charge his way hard up the inside. Mel Pocock on the Monster Energy Yamaha holds a tight line through the off-camber turn 14. The golden tyres on that Monster Energy Yamaha, just grappling for traction all the way through. Didn't like the body language there of Mel Pocock as he hit a bit of a kicker on the takeoff of that step down into that right-hander. Ferrandis there in the background, then Tixier right off the back of this group. This is the battle for fourth place. Tonkov, the Russian, holding on to it at the moment, number 59. He goes defensive to the inside. Pocock goes high and wide around the outside, but if he was any closer to Dylan Ferrandis, Ferrandis would have gone through and stole the opportunity there. Taking a big look up ahead of him was number 119, Mel Pocock. Not sure what that was for there, but trying to go around the outside of the Russian. We've seen Herlings try and fail through here as well, because you see the inside line immediately goes out to the left-hand side over the tabletop prior to the finish line jump. Pocock working hard. Fastest man on track, though, 2:05.017. Jeffrey Herlings 2 seconds down now on Jake Nichols, who posted a 2:07.3. And Glenn Coldenhoff coming into view as well to Jeffrey Herlings, a 2:06.3. So clearly by more than a second or so over both riders. Jeffrey Herlings going to find himself right on the rear wheel of the Will van der Staan Gem Racing KTM of Jake Nichols. This is Tonkov in fourth place here in the red, white and blue on the Ester Motorsports Honda. Doing a great job in fourth place as well, trying to hold off the 119, the Monster Energy Yamaha here in the white. Second rider in shot, Mel Pocock. Pocock over the series of jumps. Gonna take a big leap up the hill, is he? Trying to force his way up the inside here. But Pocock looking to dive his way through. Coldenhoff leads, Nichols second, Herlings third. Battle for third place, fourth place here though. Alex Tonkov coming under pressure from Mel Pocock. Pocock this time finds a way through, and he now goes into fourth place. Great bit of riding there from Mel Pocock. Dropping downhill then, Mel Pocock. He looks to have got himself into fourth place. Here's a replay. Tonkov up on the pegs, thought he got it covered, but Pocock hard on the brakes, down the inside. A bit of a wave acknowledgement as well there. Maybe not, no, tear-off pull. So with 12 minutes to go, Coldenhoff, Nichols, Herlings, Tonkov, Pocock, your top five. Crowd are on their feet. There's a lot of noise going on out there because Jeffrey Herlings just goes second. Jake Nichols is pushed back to third place, and no wonder really, because Herlings a time of 2:04.945 compared to the 2:08.2 of Jake Nichols. So the gap between Coldenhoff and Herlings, a Dutch 1-2 at the head of the field, is now 4.8 seconds. Herlings, more importantly, has clear track ahead of him to try and do something about Jeffrey Herlings, about Coldenhoff, his teammate. Here he is, crowd loving this here. Had a horrid time here last year, did Jeffrey Herlings, when it was deep mud and all the rest of it. He was praying for a dry circuit here in Beto Carrero this time around in 2013. Well, it's pretty much perfect conditions out there, but he's taken, what, 10 laps to get himself into second place. He's 5 seconds down on Coldenhoff, his fellow countryman. And maybe from the angle at the top of the hill here, we might just see dropping down, yeah, into the left-hander. He's got sight of Coldenhoff. So Jeffrey Herlings now on the charge. Jake Nichols been pushed back into third place, but he has a massive gap back to Mel Pocock. 11 seconds, actually, Jake Nichols. So looking good in third place at the moment. Here's Tonkov and Dylan Ferrandis. So Tixier's found a way through. So at the moment, we've got Coldenhoff leading, Herlings second, Nichols third, Pocock in fourth, Tixier now in fifth, Tonkov there, 59 in sixth, Ferrandis in the red, in seventh position there in the background, and then eighth is Jose Boutron on the Silver Action KTM, number 17, who was on the podium here last year, if you recall. Dean Ferris still in ninth place, Lupino in 10th, Dupre 11th, Anstey 12th, Petrov 13. And looking a little bit nervous now is Tonkov, as everybody else ganging up on him as they look to find their way further up another position or so. Alexander Tonkov, 9.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Finds himself being pushed back a couple of positions here. And Dylan Ferrandis knocking on the door as well. But he's got the Spaniard, Jose Buitron, number 17, breathing down his neck and trying to force the Spaniard into the outside line there. It tries and it succeeds, but Ferrandis still holding on just as they come over the Monster Energy finish line jump. You can hear the crowd out there on track as well. I think Herlings is all over the back of Koldenhoff, about 17 seconds further round. And here we are with the battle of the lead. There's Koldenhoff on the standing construct KTM. Jeffrey Herlings, Red Bull KTM, just behind him now. It was 2 seconds as they went over the line, but clearly, after about 7 or 8 corners, you can see that gap is right the way down now to next to nothing. The crowd really appreciating the efforts here of Jeffrey Herlings. As he's whittled down that gap, it was 4.9 seconds a lap ago. And he's definitely got it down. Another fastest lap of the race for Herlings with clear track, 204.6 compared to the 207.4 of 259 there. Glenn Koldenhoff at the bottom of the hill, our race leader. This is the battle for the lead. MX2, race 1. It's round 7 of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. We're at Beto Carreiro, the Brazilian Grand Prix. And it's Glenn Koldenhoff from the Netherlands leading his Dutch teammate, or countryman, Jeffrey Herlings. KTM's 1 and 2, but it's the standing construct team that leads the way over the factory effort of Jeffrey Herlings. In 3rd place, just dropping down in that bottom right-hander, the Wilvo Nastan JM Racing KTM of Jake Nichols from England. And Herlings looking to find a way around the outside, but not going to get through there. Goes around the outside here. He was so fast through this corner yesterday when the ground wasn't as sticky, but it was slick, and he was just getting on the gas so early. Listen to that crowd. More than 25,000 people here in this arena-style circuit, down the inside of his fellow countryman, and takes the lead. So Jeffrey Herlings taking the lead here to the delight of the Brazilian fans with 7.5 minutes to go. So Herlings leads for the first time here all weekend long. Never led a lap in the qualifying race. Picked himself up off the deck halfway around the first lap to get back into 3rd place. But here he is leading, coming out of turn 3 through the wave section. But Glenn Koldenhoff done a great job winning qualifying yesterday, and he's in 2nd position in Moto number 1. Here's the replay down into the final corner. Koldenhoff was high and wide, Herlings straight down the inside. You see the reaction from the fans in the background. So Herlings then, another fastest lap of the race, 204.3, 207.0 for Koldenhoff. And already starting to look a little bit distant in the background there. But doing a good job actually trying to hold on. Oh, was that Tixier? Tixier and was that Ferris? Or is that Pocock? Might be Pocock. So I think Tixier has found his way into 4th position. Pocock now in 5th place on the Monster Energy Yamaha. So here's Tixier having a better ride than he did yesterday. All right, that was up the inside, yeah. High and wide for Pocock. Tixier down the inside. Wasn't sure if it was Ferris there making a mistake, and or Tixier making a mistake and finding a way past Dean Ferris, but Dean Ferris still down in 9th place at the moment. So with 6 minutes plus 2 to go, and we look at 9:11, Jordi Tixier, Red Bull KTM, Factory Racing. Yellow flags. Man down. Caught under the bike. Just wonder if he's got his leg wrapped around the rear wheel there, otherwise he should be able to pick himself up. But Herlings it is who leads. He's our new race leader. 2nd is Glenn Koldenhoff. 3rd, Jake Nichols. 4th, this man on screen, Jordi Tixier, number 911. Then it's Mel Pocock, 119 in 5th place there in the background on the Monster Energy Yamaha. 6th is Alexander Tonkov on the Esther Motorsports Honda. 7th is Dylan Ferrandis. 8th is Buitron. 9th is Dean Ferris. 10th is Alessandro Lapino. 11th is Max Dupre. 12th, Max Anstey. 13th, Petar Petrov. 14th, Christophe Charlier. 15th, Paolo Alberto. 16th, Ivo Monticelli. 17th, James Ducotis. 18th, Ciudad. Oh, we're going down the pit lane. Here's Amy.
Dirk Jeffries found that race lead. He looked as though he was taking a bit more time today to find his way past through the other riders. Was that a conscious decision?
Well, he's struggling with his starts already yesterday, so he needs to come from midfield, and that's not so easy to pass here on the track. But as soon as he finds his rhythm, he's going through it like we see, and now he's a little bit pulling away. So.
Thanks, Dirk.
Yeah, struggling with the starts again, Jeffrey Herlings. He had that problem at the beginning of the season, then the last couple of races found good hole shots, but it's pretty grippy behind the start line area. As we look at Dean Ferris now, all over the back of Dylan Ferrandis and Alexander Tonkov. So Tonkov doing a great job of holding up the show here. But he's done a great job, you've got to say, of getting a good start, hanging it out there for as long as he has done, because he's still inside the top 10 in the race. So we've got Boutron just ahead. So it's Herlings, Koldenhoff, Nichols, Tixier, Pocock. And then just behind Pocock, we've got Boutron now, just here, number 17, pounding his way into 6th place. Tonkov in the red, white, and blue, 59, he's in 7th. The 111 of Dean Ferris now into 8th place. Dylan Ferrandis has dropped to 9th, and Alessandro Lupino probably just coming in a few in the background on the CLS Kawasaki, down in 10th. Three and a half minutes to go. Alexander Tonkov having a great ride. Ooh, a bit of a stab in the corner there from Dean Ferris through the right-hander, and another one there in the left-hander. So the ankles and the knees taking a bit of a pounding there from Dean Ferris, just losing the front in corresponding corners there, but he goes to the inside, but it's going to be difficult to get through on the Russian at that point of the racetrack. Had a good ride. He was laying in 2nd in the MX1 race last year before he fell. But down the inside, goes to the inside and runs it wide. Makes his move and goes past Tonkov. And Dean Ferris now, well, will refresh as they come over the line, but he should be just behind Jose Boutron in 7th position. Yeah, Boutron goes through in 6th, Ferris goes 7th, Tonkov now in 8th. That's him there in the red, white, and blue. Here's Boutron, though, number 17, Silver Action KTM. Dean Ferris going through, Tonkov going through, Ferrandis in 9th, Lupino 10th. Circuit just starting to dry out a little bit more, so it's pretty hard, pretty slick underneath. It's sticky, it's tacky. We've got deep ruts starting to form and develop now. Braking bumps, accelerating bumps on the downsides of the jumps as well, particularly the big jump before the finish line area, 2 corners from the finish. The landing there was already starting to chop out this morning in the morning warm-up session, but the riders love the venue here, the atmosphere around the circuit that the bleachers generally tend to generate here. Like I say, more than 25,000 people here. Bit of elevation up on this high point of the circuit as well. That jump there, 30 meters point to point, the second of the Monster Energy step-ups. Jose Boutron, though, able to use all of the racetrack and more. And Justin Barkley, our track guy here, when we had a hard and slick racetrack yesterday, the concern with the rain was that if he disked the whole track all the way round and we continue to have that rain, we would be looking at a mud bath similar to last year. So in his wisdom, he decided to hold back on the disking, just fixed a couple of the corners and jumps and that kind of thing. But the rest of the racetrack, you see, still pretty wide and hard and slick in places, but it's enabled the rain just to run off the track. It's created a perfect venue here today. Dean Ferris with 3 laps to go. All over the back of Jose Boutron, fighting for 6th position. The Australian against the Spaniard, number 17. Just ahead of them, Mel Pocock. So Pocock, the teammate to Dean Ferris, outriding his team leader here at the moment in Moto number 1. It's Jeffrey Herlings, 6.9 seconds clear of Glenn Koldenhoff at the moment. 7 seconds further back, Jake Nichols, with 8 seconds behind them, Jordi Tixier in 4th place. Mel Pocock is in 5th. Jose Boutron is in 6th place. That's the battle we're looking at here. Number 17 with number 111, Dean Ferris, behind him on the Monster Energy Yamaha in 7th place. Then it's Alexander Tonkov, Dylan Ferrandis, and Alessandro Lupino rounding out the top 10, but not making a good start, Dean Ferris, but he's managed to plow his way through that, that outside line, getting dangerously close to somebody going over the edge of it before the day's out, that's for sure. Trying to pick up. That's 203, that's Zidane Optali. local guys out here, but Jeffrey Herlings more than 7 seconds clear of the rest of the field at the moment. There he is in the left-hander. Jeffrey Herlings coming back towards the big step up, 2 corners from the finish line area, just after the wave section. Thales Velarde, one of the Honda Brazil riders, down in 18th place at the moment. Jeffrey Herlings just going through and lapping him. There's Koldenhoff just behind the 203 of Optali Ciudad. There's Koldenhoff, 259. So the standing construct, KTM rider 8 seconds down on Jeffrey Herlings, but he won't mind about that too much, I would think. Picking up another 22 points in the championship chase as it stands at the moment. And Koldenhoff currently 36 down on Jordi Tixier. Tixier 2 positions behind him, so pull a few points back. But this guy here, Jeffrey Herlings, our world champion. Ooh, that's the line I'm talking about. Getting very close to the edge there. Only needs the front end to go down there, and you're going to be picking it up for about 30 seconds. The rider's maybe just not able to get out of that rut early enough on that bank right-hander. Here's Herlings, though. 8 seconds clear. Not going to switch off. That's not his style, Jeffrey Herlings. He'll just want to keep going, but of course, the situation at the moment is 20 riders will score points in this first MX2 race, of course, but with it being the super final, only the top 10 in the championship are automatically seeded for that super final, which is the MX2 and MX1 race combined. MX1 coming up in about an hour's time, well, in less than an hour's time, in about 20 minutes or so. So as it stands at the moment, Jeffrey Herlings, Jordi Tixier, Glenn Koldenhoff, Jose Boutron, Christophe Charlier in 5th in the championship. Dean Ferris, Max Anstey, Jake Nichols, Alessandro Lupino and Mel Pocock. They're the top 10 in the championship after Portugal. They will transfer directly to the super final. After that, the next 8 guys that aren't in the top 10 in the championship will then also transfer, leaving a timed training session to decide the final 2 MX2 guys. The same process for MX1 as well. So Herlings, Koldenhoff, Nichols, Tixier, Pocock, Boutron, Ferris, Ferrandis in 8th place in this race at the moment. He finds himself 13th in the championship, so he'll be first of the 8 who aren't in the top 10 to go through to the super final. So he's well placed. So too Tonkov and Maxime Dupre, Christophe Charlier. He's already through. Petrov, and we'll give you the list before the start of the race as well. But 18 riders will go through, 2 into the from the last chance, and then of course the same in MX1, and we'll have 40 riders for the super final. But Jeffrey Herlings on his final lap through that long off camber. He was so fast through there. He passed Max Anstey, ran the outside. Anstey reacted, coming out of this right-hander, was on the rear wheel of Jeffrey Herlings as he went through this next section. Kept it nice and short through there, got on the gas, did Anstey yesterday in the qualifier. And as Herlings jumped to the right to protect the inside line, Anstey, yeah, celebrating there with the crowd. Anstey, through that next right-hander, found himself sweeping very wide and clipped the front wheel of Herlings on the way out of the turn, left the Dutchman on the ground. A couple of laps later, though, Herlings is back on his rear wheel, found a way through. Didn't look back, just made the pass, moved on, eventually got to 3rd. And here he is, starting from a poor start. So he'll be asking a few questions when he gets back to the paddock area after moto number 1. Will Jeffrey Herlings? He'll want to know the reason why he's not able to get that Rebel KTM off the line like he was a couple of weeks ago. Different conditions, of course, in Portugal. A little bit loose under the rear wheel. He was actually trying to put sand on top of the heavy stuff at the start of the race yesterday, just to help to maybe give himself a little bit of wheel spin, but that didn't work yesterday. He had a worse start yesterday, actually, than he had today. But here he is, down through the waves, under the Romagnoli banner for the final time. Nice big whip. Crowd love that. 2 corners to go. Jeffrey Herlings, who set the fastest lap of the race, just on the final lap, a lap ago, 2:04.2. Not going to threaten that this time around, though. But out of the final corner, Jeffrey Herlings, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, takes the checkered flag and wins moto number 1 in Brazil. And what a reception that is as well. Glenn Koldenhoff, we wait for him to come through on the standing construct. KTM in 2nd. He led for much of the race for 10 laps of the 18 And he comes through 11.6 seconds down. Jake Nichols should take third, 5 seconds further back and cross the line now. So a great ride for Jake Nichols on the Wilvona Star and GM Racing KTM. And Tixier Red Bull KTM in fourth. Mel Pocock Monster Energy Yamaha should be in fifth. We wait for him to come over the line now, and he does so. 30 seconds down on Herlings, our race leader. Wait for Boutron to come through. He goes through in sixth position on the Silver Action KTM. Dean Ferris Monster Energy Yamaha should be seventh. And he is. And then Dylan Ferrandis right behind him in eighth. Tonkov comes home in ninth. And Alessandro Lupino comes home in 10th on the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. There is Maxime Dupre coming over the line, 141. Charlier just behind him now. So Charlier having a hard ride through from just inside the top 20 to only get back to 12th. And Petrov comes over the line in 13th on the Kimiya Raytech Vandelar Yamaha. And we wait for the Rockstar Energy Suzuki MX2 guy, Max Ansi, now 14th, ahead of Paulo Alberto, top Brazilian.
Alexander Tonkov, congratulations, you won the Athena Get Athena whole shot, and Mr. Edgardo is giving it to you.
Alexander Tonkov then picks up the Get Athena award, 250 euros in the skyrocket for him. Buy himself another pair of Prada shades, probably. He's that kind of guy. And here's how he did it. The gate dropped and came from about 7 or 8 gates over. Held a nice tight line, put the squeeze on Glenn Koldenoff, got on the gas, saw that white line, smelt the money, sniffed it from Moscow. And he was in the lead, and he stayed there for a few laps as well. Eventually came home in 9th place, though, did Alexander Tonkov. Give you the rundown in just a moment, but just trying to work out who is going to be transferring automatically through to the Super Final, which is obviously MX2 for race 1 and MX2, the combined race. Carries the same kind of points, but each rider scoring individually in their championship classification. And in MX1, in the broadcast of MX1, we'll just give you the format as to how the Super Final works, how the riders get there and everything else with detailed diagrams and all the rest of it. But Jeffrey Herlings on fire today in Brazil, as he picks up another 25 points and is still yet to be defeated in 2013. Jeffrey Herlings wins race 1 then from Glenn Koldenoff. Jake Nichols, great ride for him. Jordi Tixier, Mel Pocock, likewise a great ride for 5th. Boutron was 6th. Dean Ferris 7th. Dylan Ferrandis, Alex Tonkov and Alex Lupino ran out the top 10. Maxime Dupre, Chris Charlier, Petr Petrov, Max Anstey. And then it was the Brazilian Alberto, then Monticelli with Dakotis, Thales Velades, Anderson, Haptali Sedad, and then Andrade, the other Brazilian, down in 20th place. There's 24 riders in MX2 this weekend. Of course, the same in MX1. We need 40 riders for the Super Final a little later on, which will be the 3rd and final race of the afternoon, but it'll be the 2nd apiece for MX2 and MX1. And as I said, for the MX1 broadcast, I think we'll be giving you a detailed account of how that looks and what to expect as we explain the Super Final format in diagrammic terms, if there is such a word. But a great atmosphere here so far in Brazil. There's the MX1 guys getting ready. For their first races, and we're getting ready to speak to Amy, and hopefully she has our race winner, Jeffrey Herlings. And be interesting to hear what he has to say, but I'm guessing he'll say he made a poor start. It was probably down in about 30.
Jeffrey, I don't know if you could hear the crowd as you were going around, but they were absolutely going crazy. How did it feel?
This was amazing. You know, I had a really bad start again. Just jumped out of the gate really good, and then for some reason they all passed me. But I enjoyed my stay on the track. You know, the people were awesome, and I really loved being out there. And yeah, on my way to the second motor now with a big gun. So hope to come out with a better start and win my individual class. You know, and yeah, that's the main priority, and try to stay undefeated.
Good luck in the super final.
Hey.
Cool, calm, relaxed. Jeffrey Herlings, business as usual for him in Moto #1 here in Brazil. Didn't make the best start, but took him 10 laps to find his way through to second, and then eventually finding a way past Glenn Koldenoff on the standing construct KTM. He was second. It was a Dutch 1-2 in this first MX2 race. Of course, he's waiting down by the podium area to speak to Glenn Koldenoff, is Amy. So it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say, but Glenn Koldenoff matching his best race result of the season so far. That came in Moto #1 in Qatar. Here he is with Amy.
Glenn, you said yesterday it was a bit of a confidence thing with you. Well, you looked as though you had plenty of it out there today.
Yeah, you know, finally got that good start also on the Sunday, and that's what I need. And you see now I was some laps behind Tonkov, but I could pass him, and yeah, only Jeffrey came over, but yeah, that's normal, I think. And I'm just super happy. I want to thank Factory KTM for such a good bike, and John Vollenberg.
Well done, great to see up your hair.
So Glenn Koldenoff, matter of confidence, made a good start. Took a while to get past Glenn Koldenoff, past Alexander Tonkov, but once he was there, he opened up a bit of a gap and made it just that little bit more difficult for Jeffrey Herlings to close him down. But when he did, the defending champion eventually went through. But still a great ride for the 259, Glenn Koldenoff and standing construct KTM. 22 points from Moto #1. Jake Nichols, the Wilbur Star and JM Racing KTM runner, was in third place. And again, Jake Nichols, who's 8th in a championship before he came here, equaling his, well, second best result of the season of third in the Netherlands. That got him third overall. Here he is with Amy.
Jake, another fantastic first race there from you. How were the track conditions?
Yeah, it was good. I think we were all expecting a real bad mud race after the rain and obviously after last year. But the track was actually perfect then, real grippy and a lot of lines. I tightened up halfway after pressuring Glenn a bit, but still happy with third. So yeah, it's a good starting base, and hopefully the second race is good. Starting to rain now, but hopefully it'll be good.
Well done.
Yeah, tough race for Jake Nichols because obviously was in sniffing distance of potential leading the race, and obviously that will tense him up. But he's been there, he's experienced it now for the first time, so the next time he's in that situation, you never know, he might go on to make the pass and go and pick up the 25 points. But he'll have to settle for third place in Moto #1 today. And that's a good way to start this Brazilian Grand Prix, of course, on course for a podium in the overall classification. But it's going to be a tough final race, the super final, a little later on. In with the MX1 guys around a circuit that's pretty deep, pretty rutty. And, of course, the prep start straight as well. And a new order in which the riders go to the line as well. So Jeffrey Herlings then extends his lead in the championship with a win in race 1 for MX2. Glenn Koldenoff second. Make some points on Jordi Tixier. Jake Nichols will gain a few as well in that third place in the race. And if you're with us on MX Live TV, there you see the MX1 guys going out now for their sighting lap as they prepare for MX1 race 1.